All right, let's make a formal introduction for our listeners. Good afternoon, Daniel. My name is Claudio, and I'm calling you from Washington, D.C. From the studios in Fairfax City. We're very humble and grateful that Daniel Reyes accepted our invitation to the show. Daniel, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Hi, Claudio.
How are you? Daniel, let's go back to the
Good.
beginning of your life. Were you born like in a musical family? I mean, how old were you when you perhaps began at the time taking piano lessons or guitar lessons?
Uh, I'm from Bogota, Colombia, and I first started playing guitar at the age of 9. I went to an Augustinian Catholic school,
Yeah.
and guitar was one of the subjects mattered. You need to study guitar as a subject like geography or informatics or sports. And I got hooked up with the guitar when I was 9, thanks to the rock en español movement. Actually, rock en español was like just emerging in Colombia. So all this music, so Stereo, Los Prisioneros de Chile, um, all of that came in as a wave, and a lot of like the kids my generation loved music because of that.
Then go ahead.
What else? Do I have family? Yeah. Do I have family in music? Yes. So my biological father, he was recognized musician and producer in Colombia, and that's about it. Yeah.
And then were you in any band when you were in high school? You were, I don't know, 15, 16 years
I
old?
did. Yeah. Yeah, I did. So we had with my cousin, we had a band called Santos del Ático. I don't know, like Attics, Saints, I guess. And we used to play The Cure, like covers of The Cure and like
Yeah.
Susie and the Banshees and this sort of like new wave. And then later I formed with a couple of friends a band called Bang, Bhang, kind of like the sort of like the traditional or the hallucinogenic thing, to see the gods and all of that. And that was until I started uh, training for classical guitar at the Universidad de los Andes in Bogota. So from like uh, 13 to 18, I played in two rock bands.
That's a very good school. I know the school very well. So, and one of the best
Yeah, El
schools in Colombia.
Agustiniano. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So eventually, so you were 18, 19 year old. You needed to make a decision with, going to the music path or going to a regular university and study, engineering, medicine, law, whatever. Any family, any pressure for your parents telling
Oh yeah,
you,
yeah,
forget about
yeah.
music, you're not going to make any money. Go to
Yeah.
medical school, right? Go to engineering, whatever.
Well, in fact, I did a year of psychology and
Yeah.
human sciences because that was the only way for me to get into college. My immediate family, my stepdad and my mom, they uh, they opposed me taking a career in music until I was already in first year, so I was able to take music credits if I wanted to because I didn't have to ask permission to anyone. So I started taking music credits, and then eventually I switched to music. I switched to guitar performance, and then I invited them to a recital, to one concert, and essentially I told them, well, this is what I'm doing now, and I hope it's okay. This is the path, and I got approval. But I had to do it kind of like sideways.
I know how it's like, man. I know exactly what you mean, man. I was checking out your Bandcamp page, and I noticed I listened to the 3 albums that are there. The first one is Molino, released in June 2012. Actually, well, 11 years ago. How difficult was? It's a very good album, actually. How difficult was to put the first one together? I mean, you did it on your own. You went to a record label. You were living in Colombia at the time, right? And you were not living in the United States, or
No, I was in New York at the time.
yeah,
No, I
got
was
it.
in New York City at the time, and what's the name? A crowdfunding campaign,
Yeah, go fund me.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did a Kickstarter, and I got some money there, and I got some production money to do music for a film at the time, and I was able to use some of the sessions of the film to record the larger band tracks. So the musicians in that band, in that album, are from Parias Ensemble, which was my sort of like Latin American new music group in New York. So it had musicians from Argentina, from the United States, from Japan, from Europe, and then we would play a little bit of a mixture of like Latin American folk and a little bit of like new music. So that's kind of like the album at the time, and it was released in 2012. It actually has a cover of King Crimson's "One Time" that I did a little bit of an intro with the letters. They're from Ireland, and then sort of like mix it up with One Time, based on an idea suggested by Emilio Teobal, who was the accordion player in that band. So yeah, that was a challenging album. It was the first one. It was self-released, uh, um, but I got excellent musicians like help playing and helping too. Yeah, Molino.
Yeah. And then, so the second album was released in 2019. En I'm sorry, En Remolinos, right? So what would you do? What were you doing between 2012 and 2019? You mentioned before that you train and you play with King Crimson. It's what's it called,
I
circle,
know
circle.
the,
That was later.
the guitar craft,
The
the
guitar
guitar
craft. Yeah.
craft and guitar circles. Yeah, so I did. Um, I went to guitar craft for about 15 years, starting in 2004. And what happened with the distance between Molino and Remolino is that actually it wasn't that much of a distance. What it took me a while, it was to release the album
I got it.
because of life circumstances.
Yeah.
So the sessions of En Remolinos, which I wanted to use the name from Gustavo Cerati's
Yep.
Soda Stereo track from Dynamo. It was because my life was in Remolinos at the time. It was in Whirlwind. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but like it was a really difficult time in my life. So it had two sessions. It had the session of the main band, which it was Alexander Petrov on percussion, Megan Burke on cello, Luis Llanes on guitar, and me on guitar, Vasco Lukovsky on clarinet. That session happened in 2013.
Sure.
And then there was a second session that happened in 2015 that it was with Marta Toferova, the singer, John O'Brien on drums, Alexi David on bass, Luis Llanes on guitar, Vasco on clarinet, and me on guitar. And that was in 2015. Then there were some other sessions when I first moved to Portland in 2018, and that's when I completed the album. So it was a little bit of a collage of different ideas and times in my life, and that's why I called it In Remolinos.
I can understand. Understand. So after two albums, were you able to make some money out of music, or tour, or play in some small cafes, or any soundtrack?
Well, yes. I mean, I did. I have done some soundtracks, film scoring, and I do teach music. And the albums sell enough to pay for some of the expenses, not enough to pay to make a living or to buy a house or anything like that. But they did pay for the expenses of some things. I did. I went on tour with the League of Crafty Guitarists in Argentina in 2017. I I think that it was the last official guitar circle course directed by Robert Fripp in Argentina. Now next year there's going to be another iteration of guitar circle in Argentina 7 years after that completion. But I wouldn't be part of that. Now I'm busy with my own music. But yeah, so I did some things between 2012 and 2019 when I released En Remolinos. I also released an album, a live album with Paris Ensemble called St. Mark's Place. It was a set of improvisations on guitars, two guitars, electronics, and clarinet. I think around 2016. It's only on Bandcamp. It's not nowhere else to be found. And then I collaborated with Patrick Grant, which is also from Guitar Circle. It's a guitarist composer who is based in New York City, and I play many of his guitar troupe concerts called Tilted Axis. And I recorded on the album as well. I forget the name of the album, but I played on that album as well. So yeah, some things happened between 2012 and 2019. It was kind of scattered. Then in 2020, I released first volume, which is actually a reset, first volume or volume one, and it's a set of electronic collaborations with different musicians, including Steve Ball from Guitar Circle, Guitarcraft. Also Gina Savino, which is a Colombian singer, and then a couple of friends from Argentina and a friend, Gregory Jackson from Germany, the United States, Germany, and Gabriel Chirino from Argentina. Yeah, so those are the things that preceded my solo record, Códices.
Good for you. Both I listened to all the stuff in Bandcamp last night when I was preparing question for the interview. You're very good, man. You're very good. And
Thanks, man.
No problem. And in November, 3 weeks ago, you ended up releasing your latest album called Códices, and my understanding is that that was co-produced by King Crimson's Trey Gunn, which I have the opportunity to interview him a couple of weeks, a month ago or so. And the album is very, very good, man. It's very, very good. I see the progression in your life, man. Or with a different engineer, with a different studio, more money put into that, and it's very good.
Yeah.
It's a big difference, right?
That helped. That helped. Having some money helped a lot. I got a grant in 2022 from the Regional Arts Council, Cultural Arts Council in Portland, and that sort of like started the project because I wasn't able to cover some sites and also begin to raise more money in order to get the right engineer, get the right producer, the right studio, and all of that while I was writing the music. And of course, the album is, let's put it this way. So I was able to do more because I was my only boss. I was the only musician. So I didn't have to schedule anyone to come and play or rehearsals or any of that. So I had a little bit more control over how to run the process of production in that regard. While in Remolinos and Molinos, I had about 12, 13 musicians. So the level of rehearsal, preparation, all of that to make, to achieve the same quality level as I did with the solo album, it was almost impossible at the time. So this time I had Trey as producer. Through Trey, we hired Mark Whitmore to do the recording engineer, and he has a couple of Grammy Awards with John Batiste, the pianist, and also got nominated to 2 Grammys in the last, 2023 now, 2024, I guess, for also albums with John Batiste, and has a Grammy Award with T-Bone Burnett. So he's a quite amazing young engineer. And then I got some support from a producer as well. So I was able to not only book Mark and get a nice studio and get also Trey as producer, which was an amazing experience in all senses, because he not only brought his expertise in making records, but also he understood the music from the get-go, as he was coaching me in the process of writing the music. Not coaching me in the terms of giving me composition lessons or anything like that, but we would talk directions, or where to go, or how to approach this music, where to place it. Because although it's classical guitar, for the unexpected ear, the audience, it's not necessarily classical guitar, because it's music written in the 21st century. And although it has some roots with tradition, like the classical guitar tradition and the guitar craft tradition and the rock tradition that is also part of my vocabulary, it has a multifaceted sort of personality and aesthetic. So it was also important to have a nice artwork, some sort of production value. So I made some videos, and I wanted to step up in terms of the quality of offering and the product. So I'm pretty content with what it was, with what it is, the album, and how it came out.
How long does it take for end to end, for coming out with your idea and then meeting with Trey, change this, change that, and then going to a next track? When you arrive to the studio, you have everything sort of pre-cooked, so to speak, or was sort of half baked, the stuff, and you finish that?
Well, no. So there are actually 8 etudes, or etudes I call them, because I didn't want to add poetry to the names of the pieces or whatever. I want to have pieces, to present pieces that were sort of laboratories for me to develop my compositional ideas. So the best word I could find, it was etude or estudios, because for me are compositional etudes. So there are 8 etudes in the album, and those were written between 2021, the end of 2021, and the end of 2022. So about a year I wrote the music, took me to write the music. And then there are also 4 improvisations of 12-string guitar on the album. And those ones, they were half-baked. I just essentially brought 2 guitars to the studio, my classical guitar, my luthier guitar, and I bought the 12-string guitar in order to when I was out of ideas or mentally tired, play something else and track something else. So whenever we kind of hit a wall recording the written music, we decided to do let's do a 10 minutes of improvisation, whatever that is. And I improvised, and some of them were actually okay and were included in the album.
Okay. No, the album is very, very good, man. And it has a lot of different flavors, I don't know, some Latin flavor, if you will, classical composer like Debussy and Stravinsky. It's very good, man. Very good. I can tell that you were, some people learn how to play the guitar when they were 5 or 10 or whatever in their own country, and they never learn kind of all the classical composer and go directly into more, progressive music and so on and so forth. In your case, you have both, right? Because you study, as a classical, learning classical music, and then you start, shifting with and bringing different element into that particular album. and it's very, very good. I have listened to the album like 3 or 4 times, man, already. That's right. That was
Ah,
very good.
great,
Good, very good,
great.
man.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so yes, I do have like some training, and I play Bach and I play some, the 20 Latin American composers like Heitor Villalobos from Brazil, and a lot of Astor Piazzolla,
yes,
um, some music by Miguel Llobet from Spain, some Colombian music and Venezuelan music as well. Music by Gentil Montaña and music by Antonio Lauro. And I was never into like the European 1800s sort of guitar music because it didn't speak to me at the time. Say like Carcassi or like Giuliani and these composers for guitar of the 18th and 19th century. Uh, I was really into like contemporary alive composers, kind of like Leo Brouwer from Cuba. It's a big, big influence in my work and in the work of many others. And I had the pleasure to work with him I believe it was in 2000 when he came to Colombia. I was in Colombia at the time. And he gave a series of workshops. And I attended with my guitar quartet at the time. And he was so happy with what we offered that he invited us to do a presentation a few days later at a different college. And one of the things that Leo Brouwer said. Are you familiar with Leo Brouwer by any chance?
no, no, no,
Leo Brouwer.
no. I need to check it out. No, I don't.
Yeah, so he's amazing. He even has a record with Irakere. There is a record with Irakere and Leo Brouwer, and he was so generous and so interesting. Like the first thing that he said to us is like, you guys should spend too much time listening to classical guitarists. You guys should go and listen to Keith Jarrett or King Crimson. He actually said that. Like, go to listen to King Crimson or Keith Jarrett. Don't listen to like only classical guitarists. Listen to anything.
Yeah,
And he threw some names. He said Keith Jarrett, King Crimson, and something else. I don't recall. Yeah.
good for you, man. Yeah, and then now that the album is out there, any possibility of touring the album and then bringing other composers to play with you as a trio quartet or go on your own to play some venues?
Yes, so I actually the release party of the album was happened last Friday in Portland, and since now we're starting on the winter sort of, I usually take some time off from performing in the winter.
Yeah.
So the first stop that I'm gonna do is in the spring. I'm gonna come to Seattle, play a couple of concerts, and then I'm gonna go to Colombia. I'm gonna play a concert in Bogota, a concert in Bucaramanga, which is a city in the, I guess, like the east part of Colombia, northeast, and then I'm gonna go to Europe in September. So I plan to have a couple of concerts in France and a couple of concerts in Germany, and that will be for the tour. If anything comes up, yeah.
But what about Northeast, the Northeast? Like the Boston.
Yeah, New York,
Washington,
Yes,
or
I'm gonna. Yeah. So I'm gonna do either during the trip to because I live in Portland, Oregon, right? So for me to get to Colombia, there's kind of like three ways. So I often go to New York and then stay a couple of nights in New York and then fly from New York City.
Right.
The other times I do LAX, then LAX to Bogota.
Yeah.
And the other time, the other way is to do like Houston, then Bogota. So what I'm going to do is either during the Colombia trip, I'm going to do New York. And if you're around, I can come down and visit you. And in Washington D.C.
You're more than welcome. My wife is one of the best cook in. She's from Bogota as well. She's one of the best cook of in this country, according to me. You know, so if you wanna get good food, man, and listen to some music or whatever, you're more than welcome to come here and
Whoa.
crash the place, man. You will
Thank you
go
so
crazy.
much. Well. That makes it official. I'm gonna be in Washington D.C.
Okay, that will be good. And yeah, there are many great venues here in DC because I live in the border with Maryland and Washington. As I mentioned before, every band come this way. I mean, every band. That's where I'm able to see so many shows. And there are many places, many venues. I don't know, 40 or 50 or 60 places. The big
Wow.
places where King Crimson would play, or Peter Gabriel, or Fleetwood Mac, but there are many other places, where 100 people will attend, or 200, or 50, or whatever. So there are many great venues for you, man, for you to play here, man. Feel free to elaborate on
Thank you.
where. No problem, man. Feel free to elaborate where the listener can buy your music and buy your records, and
Sure.
yeah,
Sure. So you can find, and this is good news this year because I was invited to be part of the 7D Media label. It's
yep,
Trey Gunn's label that also has the music of Tony Levin, Jerry Marotta, Tuner. This project that Trey has with. Marcus Ruther and Pat
yep.
Mastelotto. So
But
now
Nostromo,
you
yeah.
can find, yes, you can find two albums of me. I have one album that I recorded last year in New York with Elliot Sharp and Harvey Valdez. It's called String Schemas. So it's sort of like some improvisations on electric and acoustic guitars and some written music. And that came out in October. And then you can also find Códices, which is my solo album on 7D Media, their
Yep.
website. But you can also find them in Bandcamp and
Yep.
also for the streaming on Apple Music and Tidal and Spotify and all of that stuff. Then my previous albums are also in Bandcamp and under my name, Llinás. You can also find them there. Eventually, those albums are going to be also added to the catalog of 7D Media, but for the time being, you can find them Molino and then Remolinos and Reset. You can find them on my Bandcamp.
Yeah, and I will put both link to on the description on the YouTube channel so
Thank
people
you.
can go get
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
No,
Thank you so
no, no
much.
problem. So people can buy the new music. Looking back at your life, any things you would have done differently in terms of training or learning with other people, or perhaps beginning taking guitar lesson when you were 5 instead of 10, or anything that, or you have it.
Well, I think I don't have any regrets in
That's
terms of
good, man.
like
Yeah.
my my musical like story or history. One thing that I like to do more is to play more jazz. Like to really, I love jazz, and I
Yeah.
not necessarily because I want to like add anything to the. It's just because I enjoy the the richness of the vocabulary and the all the possibilities that you can do with like the language. So I will, if I could trade time that I spend doing some things versus other things, I would have probably like spend less time learning repertoire, classical repertoire, and improvising more.
Got it.
But it's still time to do that. So that's one of
Oh yeah.
the plans that I have. Yeah, is to like do more of that and
Yeah.
less dead people music.
Yeah. Well, I think you should. I mean, your stuff is very good, man. I think you should get try to get a hold of, Pat Metheny to see if you can.
That would be fantastic. He's coming to Portland these days. I had to find out. Yeah, he's coming to Portland. Yeah.
Should go at the end of the show. You should go and introduce yourself and you give him a copy of your stuff, and then see what he thinks, and then take it from there.
Oh wow! Yeah. But you know what? Who came to town? John McLaughlin and Chakti.
Oh man, this guy's amazing.
Yeah, that was an amazing show. That was beautiful. Like such high musicianship. It's just incredible. They all like the best in their game. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Or Aldi Miola too. Aldi Miola is touring right now, so you try to get a hold of him.
Is he touring? Yeah. But also I saw, I don't know if you're familiar, but like Craig Taborn came the other day. It's a pianist from Brooklyn. Fantastic. I have a record. David Thorne. Are you familiar with David Thorne?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, so he has one of my favorite records ever. It's called Presents, which is David Thorne with Trey Taborn. I think it's Drew Gress, Tom Rainey, and Tim Byrne on saxophone.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that place where jazz meets rock, meets like that place that is this music that we don't have a name or label for. It's like intense. It's jazz, but it's not jazz. It's rock, but it's not rock. That place. So that's kind of like my aspiration in terms of like what I want to do. I want to do that music that sort of like transcends genres. Not necessarily straight ahead jazz, not necessarily hard rock, but a place where they meet.
Yeah, sure. Go for it, man. Easy for me to say.
Yeah. Well, we have to keep doing it, huh? Right.
Yeah, you need to keep on doing, man. I know you need to go and you need to catch. Are you driving or you taking?
I'm driving. Yeah, this is like non-alcoholic.
Yeah, before you drive, you can drink tonight when you get to your.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You get to wherever you're going, man. It was very nice talking to you, man, Daniel. Let's stay in touch. You're very good at what you do, man.
Thank
I'm
you,
not
Claudio.
a musician.
Thanks for the invitation.
I don't know how to play music. I don't know how to read music. I never have, never learn. But I've been listening to music. I don't know, 2-3 hours a day, every day for the last 50 years. So, your stuff is good, man.
Thanks, Claudio. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the invitation. Thanks so much for having this great conversation.
No problem. And you know where to get a hold of me. And when you are in DC or Washington or New York, send me an email or give me a call. You have my number, and then we'll try to get together for dinner or a beer. Beautiful. Or probably more than one beer, probably. Or drink some Chilean wine.
Claudio. Chileno, qué bueno.
All right. It was very nice talking to you. Good luck to you, man.
Ciao. Muchas gracias.
No, welcome, man. No problem.